Our new song is available for pre-order at getcominghome.com. Check it out. Download iTunes to pre-order and support our work. Let's jump to this tweet we've got from Libs of TikTok. Holy-ish Democrat delegate to the House of Representatives accidentally says the quiet part out loud. She admits the DOJ and FBI are weaponized to go after people with opposing views. Well, let's listen and hear what she said.
What is the point of this subcommittee? Because it's necessary for the public and the media to hear, to try, and provide cover for the eradication of the Department of Justice and the FBI. We are having these hearings so that you become immune. You become inured to the notion of the removal of the FBI and DOJ, so that those agencies are no longer there to serve as a check against white nationalism, great replacement theorists, Christian nationalists, white fragility, fascists, and the twice impeached convicted felon, former president and would-be dictator, Donald Trump.
Yo,
It's both sides, though, Tim. It's both sides.
I'm gonna step back and be like, well, most of us would say, yeah, white nationalism, bad thing. Great replacement theory is kind of nebulous and ill-defined. Christian nationalists? The DOJ needs to serve as a check against Christian nationalists? This country has long been Christian nationalist. What is this? White fragility? The DOJ needs to serve as a check against white fragility? Fascism, not a fan of, but that's just a political ideology. But more importantly, she says the DOJ and the FBI need to serve as a check against Donald Trump. What? He is the front runner in the battleground states for the presidency.
Who is this girl?
She's a delegate, Stacey Plaskett.
For the Virgin Islands.
It's a very racist statement she made, talking about white people, what about like racial fragility? How about that?
Look.
How about racial supremacy as a problem?
There has been this attempt to turn Christian nationalism into a boogeyman. They're trying to make Christian nationalism out to be like extremists, when mostly it's just Christians who believe in a country with a moral foundation in Christianity. And they're like, if they were as a threat as anyone might, as she claims them to be, they would have been doing substantially more over the past several decades.
I get like xenophobia is a bit of a problem. You don't want people being so terrified of their neighbor that they won't even let them on their property.
But it's also not the role of the FBI to fight against xenophobia, though. I think, that's not going to convince anyone to be less xenophobic. But I think what's troubling really about this is that, the Christian national thing has always been really interesting to me, because it's like you separate the words. You have Christian, you have nationalism. Nationalism, you love your country, you believe in, it's the best country in the world, whatever. And you have Christian, which is Christianity. So which of those two things do these people have a problem with? Like loving your country or loving your God? And if you were to replace, Christian nationalists with Muslim nationalists, she would never say that word. She would never say that with any other religion. But for some odd reason, when it comes to saying Christian nationalists, it's okay to wage a war against Christians in this country. But any other religion, you can't do it.
Even if we're going to step back and be like, okay, like those are ideologies and beliefs. It's kind of weird that the DOJ and the FBI would target people based on their beliefs. But to add to serve as a check against Trump, she's outright saying that the DOJ's purpose is to go after a political opponent.
Well, and if this is what an elected delegate thinks the purpose of these federal agencies are, I think we should get rid of them. She's saying we're having these hearings so you stop thinking that. But in this case, I do not like whatever version of this federal authority she has cooked up, right? You don't have to like the things she listed. You don't have to like Donald Trump. But to say that there is a specific branch of the government that's tasked with going after what ultimately amounts to being right-leaning ideologies and belief systems and white supremacy, I guess, in this country seems bizarre to me. And again, you can see with the term white fragility, there's obviously a coded language here. We can tell that she's progressive. We can tell where this is coming from. But I thought the Department of Justice was to bring justice to people who have been victims of crimes. And I thought the FBI was hypothetically to investigate crimes. So if believing what she wants is a crime, I worry for a lot of the country.
We got to rename some of these departments. I think the DOD should probably be the DOO or the DOW, the Department of War.
I like Department of War.
Yeah, okay. And then the DOJ should be the DOD, the Department of Democrats.
Yeah. I think that's what it is for the most part.
I think we really need to like recalibrate calibrate nationalism too, because we are in a global stage. It's not just America first at any cost. You're not going to burn the rest of the world to improve the United States. You need to bring everyone up with you as a leader. So you do.
Well said, and the America First people agree with you.
Good, because I think it's misinterpreted sometimes that we will be the best at any cost, and that's not what it's about.
That's the lie. What the left will try to push is that nationalism or America First is basically saying at the expense of others, or that we're isolationist, when all it really says is, hey, instead of spending $200 billion on Ukraine, can we fix the pipes in Newark and Pittsburgh and Flint first?
And then perhaps in Afghanistan and Soviet, or not Soviet Union, but maybe in Japan, we can fix their pipes too.
That's why the saying isn't America only. It's America first and then. Because, my view is I think we should give all of our disposable income, 100% of it. I want everyone in America to sign on to giving away all of your disposable income to all the impoverished nations of the world.
You got it, Tim.
After we secure our borders, fix our roads, rebuild our bridges, secure the jobs for the unemployed, fix the colleges, get home prices in order, get our military secure. There should be not a single homeless veteran. There should be, veterans should be getting taken care of for their medical needs. Once we solve all of our problems and we're all sitting in floating chairs in pure luxury and comfort, then we can start giving our money to other countries.
Usually what happens is they'll come here, people from another country, they'll learn how to do that, and then they'll go there and fix their own problems, because that's better than just tossing money over there or building a pipeline.
But not really, though, right? Like, it's a mix. This idea that, like, people come here and then leave is usually not true, especially if they're like, yeah, this country's bad. Sometimes they'll send money back to other countries to help their family members or whatever else. But for the most part, like, people come to the U.S. because they want to stay. I mean, even asylum seekers, right? Like, asylum seekers arrive and ultimately stay in the country. Very rarely do they go back to where they're from.
Country.
When I was in middle school, I remember my history class going over like vocabulary words, and one was patriotism. And they're like, oh, that's love of country. And then nationalism, my teacher defined as too much love of country, but it's gone too far. And I find this fascinating because we look at the American youth and say, why don't you care about this country? Why don't you like it? But they're also always warned against being proud of being American and wanting to have a culture that reflects wanting to be a part of it.
What's the difference between patriotism and nationalism?
Well, according to my teacher, it's nationalism is patriotism, but too far.
Okay, well, nationalism is just, it's a broad term representing you favor the strengthening of your nation.
Over the strengthening of your state? Is that what it is? The problem is
internationalism would be a combination of ideas such as we should intervene in foreign countries to how they should be doing things, and they should be able to tell us what we should do as well. Nationalism is like, look, these are our borders, our jurisdiction, our country. We're going to take care of ourselves, focus on ourselves. And within nationalist ideologies, you have international treaties and relationships.
The globalist identity.
The media tried mocking a lot of the nationalists that were prominent online because they were from different countries. And someone said there's an international nationalist movement. And they all started saying, haha, you're all so dumb, you're morons. And they were like, you don't seem to understand what this means. It means that there are varying politicians and activists from various countries who believe in the sovereignty of their nation and the right to self-determination. And they agree that Germany has it and the Netherlands have it. That's international support for nationalism.
I guess some of the problem with nationalism is when you become so obsessed with the nation state and the power and sovereignty of the nation itself, it gives away the sovereignty of the citizen. In the United States, we're all sovereign. And we have created this united form of statehood, and we've created a nation out of it. But if you become obsessed with the power of the federal government and you want to give over your power to the nation state, you've lost it at the local level.
Why don't you ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country?
I do every day. In fact, I'm doing it.
So the issue was we used to have more of a sense of duty. I'm not going to claim this country was ever perfect, because I don't think any country ever is. But we had more honor and more duty, and now that's being stripped away for a variety of reasons.
But it's also because of the lack of patriotism in our country, right? It's like, to your point, you're at colleges and universities today all across America, you're demonized for being too patriotic. You're not demonized for not being patriotic enough, right? Like, you have your teachers saying, oh, nationalism is when you love America too much, which is the most nonsensical thing in the world, because I look at the problem and I see, obviously, the problem in our country is that people don't love America enough. So much so that they're going on college campuses, actively praising a terrorist organization like Hamas that is saying from the river to the sea. They don't even know which sea they're talking about. They just
which
know
river.
Right, or which river. They just know that they hate America, and these people also hate America, so they're going to go out and chant these nonsensical things and wear, a Palestinian flag, but also a gay flag, even though the gays are thrown off of buildings in these countries. It's like, chickens being for KFC, but it doesn't matter to them because they've been so indoctrinated believing that wokeism is just synonymous with apparently not loving America, which is a truly unfortunate thing because it's like that has forced them to literally take the sides of people who are oppressing the very people they claim to care so much about.
Yeah.
It's a cult.
Yeah, it's a cult.
Well, and I wouldn't think that nationalism in America would have to be obsession with the federal government. Like America's government is set up hypothetically so that that states have strong independent governments and can dictate their own laws. We have ceded power from the states to the federal government over time, but hypothetically, you can be like, I want to put, America is the best country and I'm for it and I want to strengthen it without having to say, therefore, we need a bloated bureaucratic state at the top.
Exactly what I'm thinking is that the love of the nation, the love of United States is the love of the way it was created and the ideology of the system, not the bureaucracy itself. You don't worship the power structure. You worship the reason it was created this way. You worship the individual sovereignty and the local governance. Things like that. That's love of country in this country. And of course, you don't always love every country's behavior, but you do love this one. At least I do. I love the opportunity. I love the ability to own your own land and to defend it.
And cheesesteaks are great too.
Oh, they're amazing, man.
We got good food here. And the Italian immigrants, they come here and they made pizza. And that's
immigration, the melting pot, when we have it in order, is so valuable. The cultural cohesion.
It was when people came here and said, I want to be an American. And the challenge we face now is people come here saying, I don't care about America, I want.
Yeah.
So if, they always try to play this in the media that, it's, they're racists. They just don't like that they're Haitian migrants. And you go and hear what the people of Springfield have to say, and they're like, we don't care if they're Haitian. They're just not coming to they're not learning to break bread with us. They're not learning about how we live our lives. They don't understand our culture. They don't know how to drive cars. They were like, if there was one woman interviewed, I think it was on Fox News. She's like, if we brought in a handful of these Haitian migrants and they were coming to our churches and our stores and everything, we'd welcome them with open arms. But 15,000 all at once, and they don't know how to drive. They don't care for our customs, our ways, how we do things.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs.
Exactly. I still can't believe that they're trying to maintain in the media that it's not true. When Chris Rufo already published a video from over a year, he found a video on social media from over a year ago of migrants in the Congo cooking cats on a grill. So whether it's Springfield, it's in Springfield or somewhere else, these kind of things happen. But I digress. The issue is not, in my opinion, that they're eating cats. We get alarmed with that. That's a surface level issue. The cats on the grill video that went viral represents that they're not integrating with American culture and society.
Yeah. And
assimilation.
In the microcosmic metaphor, you'd have like 6 dudes in a room playing magic cards, and then a guy is let in to the room, and you're like, "Hey, we're playing magic cards," and he's like, "Oh, want to learn?" He comes in. He's the immigrant. He sits down. He spends some time. He learns magic. Then the next 3 guys come in. We're like, hey, guys, want to learn magic? There's 7 of us. Now there's 10 of us that know how to play magic. But in what's happening when people are surging across the borders, there's 6 of us in the room playing magic. And then 50 people come into the room, and they're all milling around. It's disorganized. They're yelling. We're like, hey, want to learn cards? And they're like sitting at the table with us. And they're like, some people are laying on and it's so much so fast.
One guy walks over and he grabs one of the cards and he's like, hey, look at this. And you're like, hey,
it's firewood. We can use this to make fire. And you're like, oh my God. It's too much too fast. We need to slow.
And we lose our cultural identity as a result of it, right? And I think that's the kind of the funny thing about what your earlier point. It's like they were saying, oh, why are all these foreigners like nationalists or, they're obviously immigrants or whatever. It's because they came here and they assimilated. They realized that they were now Americans and they were now going to be fighting for the interests of the American people.
I was told this story by an older family member who said that when she came, she's very old, Italian immigrants, her parents wouldn't teach her how to speak Italian. They said, you will learn English and you will be an American. And I think Americans appreciate it, and they like that. Legal immigration, economically viable. The people can come here and learn. They can get jobs. They can fill these roles at factories and where jobs are needed. But they try to fit in and respect what we have and what we built. I like your analogy, Ian. I think making it about magic is a little silly, but it makes the point.
Selfish thing for me.
But it's you and your friends are playing a board game, and 50 people come in with beers and they're screaming and yelling and they're shaking beers all over the place, you're like, guys, we were having a quiet game night and now you're screaming, and they're like, shut up, it's our house now, you're going to have a problem with that.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe and we'll see you all there.